Hi, and welcome to Wall Street Today. I am your host, Zach Viscomi, and today joining me, I've got a special guest, Frank Astorino. He is a certified private wealth advisor, as well as a certified financial planner, and also a certified really good guy. So Frank, thanks a lot for being on here today.
Thank you, it's good seeing you, Zach.
Yeah, so, financial services, we're sitting here in Times Square. We've got Wall Street right around the corner. So tell me a little bit more about you, what you do, your mission, your vision. Just introduce us.
So one of the biggest contributors to my passion in this business is probably rooted in family. I grew up, I was one of 8 children. Started out, cutting lawns like most people might. That transitioned into teaching tennis because I had a facility for tennis, and that's where I got my entrepreneurial spirit. From there, I paid my way through Boston College. Boston College was rich with a lot of humanity and liberal arts. From there, I went on to get my advanced degrees in financial planning and found a niche. My defining moments originally with my native family, then became my natural family, my nuclear family. I had an international adoption, which was very defining, and that was eye-opening to see how other people live, and we didn't know what to expect, and there was many challenges with that. And that was followed by having triplets.
Wow.
And that experience was, our house was like a triage for about a year with in and out nurses and things like that. So that was kind of my inspiration. As far as the mission of our company, I took those deep-rooted family values and caring for people and that humanitarian background I got at college. And I wanted to create the most expansive toolbox, replete with experience and wisdom for the wealth management industry. And I didn't want to put any limitations on that. I wanted to make sure that we could help people with the most complex and difficult transitions in their life.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this before when we were talking a little bit backstage, but those transitions, we spend so much time accumulating, we spend so much time in sort of building up our wealth, and then it's the second part of life, or that next transition where it's kind of like, well now what, and so I imagine a lot of your clients sort of have similar situations where they're looking into their future, and so you work a lot with people who are forecasting their retirement.
Yeah, we've learned through financial life coaching, there's at least 62 life transitions that people go through. And because we're very sensitive to the behavioral side, we teach our clients that the downside pain of losing money is 2.5 times more impactful than the upside of exuberance and having wealth. So our first mission is to protect the wealth. The second is to help them expand it, and then to align their wealth with who they are, their values, their relationships, and their goals. Because many times we find that wealth is not the root of happiness. It's how you align that wealth and bring it to a life of significance.
And I imagine too, then you have a very unique approach with all your clients, right? It's not a cookie cutter sort of process. You really get to know them and their families. And so walk me through a little bit of what that process looks like for somebody.
So everybody has their own story, and I always try to get people to tell their story, and sometimes that's over a period of time. And you find that there's no cookie cutter individual. So after maybe an hour and a half deep discovery, questions that range from their values, where they're rooted, could be on faith, it could be growing up as a child, their parents, something like that. We transition into their goals and want to know what their accomplishments were and what they're hoping to accomplish. And then we get into the relationships, because a lot of times people's motivation is their heirs and their children and their significant others. We find with the affluent marketplace that if you don't bring up charitable causes, you're missing a great opportunity for them to make impact. We try to make sure they're networked with an elite group of advisors that are also aligned with their goals and their values. So that's kind of the process, but we do take a lot of time on the qualitative side As an independent firm, there's really virtually no limit to how we can help them and where we can get the resources. So that's a plus. You're not tied to a product or to a company.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of it, right? Because a lot of times the stigma around working with a financial advisor, is oh, well, you're just going to put me into whatever you want. That's going to help you make money, right? Which isn't necessarily the case, and especially not the case, when you're actually providing real life solutions for people. And
yeah, that invariably is what led me to start my own business with a credit card and $25,000. I had no tolerance for having incentives to sell something. I wanted to solve problems, and I wanted to help people find joy with the wealth they have, as opposed to just selling.
Now, you've been able to help people find joy, for many years now. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and you're continuing to make a difference in a lot of people's lives. So can you share an example with me of maybe somebody that comes to mind that you worked with?
Several clients have been with us for over 3 decades, and so you've seen a lot of those life transitions. One in particular that's dear to my heart is a woman who told me her story over time. And she started out as a young person supporting her family. They were evicted from their apartment. She had aspirations of being a doctor. That never panned out because they couldn't afford to send her to school. She never went to college. And she crawled her way up to a Fortune 100 top 2 position.
Wow.
She was making 7 digits. As life often throws you curveballs, she's lost the heirs that she basically was going to leave her estate to. She lost one child at 20, another at 54. She lost her husband. And so here's this woman who doesn't need the wealth that we tripled, with her. We've mitigated all her taxes, so she didn't pay capital gains. She got deductions. We did the charitable work. And it turned out that the one dear silver lining for her was her pet dog, Dilly. And when she had several setbacks in the hospital, we took the dog and took care of it. Our Persian rugs didn't appreciate that, but we did love the dog, and we brought it back to her when she was recovered. And the silver lining for her was, while she really had no one to leave her wealth to, we parlayed her love of her dog into a charitable foundation.
Cool.
So that she could take care of thousands of dogs and pets for people.
That's so cool. Yeah, and I mean, Frank, I've got the pleasure of knowing you, and so I know this to be true. But just in that example, right, you took her dog and brought her home. That's the way in which you go the extra mile for your clients too, because I don't know many people that would do that, right? And here you are, you're helping this woman and willing to take her dog into your house and ruin some Persian rugs.
It kept her going.
That's so cool.
So we were happy we were able to do that. Not everybody's easy to meet all their needs, but there's so many challenges in life, globally, politically, economically, and socially, as you know. And we try to tell people to deal with what they have control over, let us help them with the things they have no control over, and review your situation periodically, like the times we're in now, to see if there are any holes or areas that could really hurt.
Yeah, and I imagine this is an ongoing process then too,
all the time,
right? It's
yes.
not just you set it and forget it, George Foreman style. Obviously, you've got a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. You've been able to work with a lot of people. What would, if somebody were listening or watching this, what would be the best way for them to find out more or even get in contact with you?
We're very approachable. They could find us through various networks and websites. Today, I would say have an A and a B plan. The A plan is filled with the fundamentals and assumptions that should be reviewed periodically and we think are reasonable. What we think inflation is going to be, which is a real challenge today. We look at what rates of return they need and what tax situation and so forth. And those are all the assumptions, but the B plan should be, double your liquidity. Have more cash available, even if it's not making any return. If you're concerned about the market, if you're concerned about the economy, if you have anticipated goals that need that money available, like one CEO, the pinnacle of his wealth management from us is leaving a very large donation to his alma mater, college. And I said, we can't take chance with that. We're not going to invest it. We're going to ride it out because you need $1.5 million to make that donation.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Frank, I want to thank you for taking the time today, talking with me about this. I love what you're doing and really making a difference in people's lives, helping them through these transitions, and doing it in a way that people can really trust. I mean, you're a genuine guy, and it's been great having you on. So thanks for joining me today.
Zach, it's always a pleasure. Enjoy working with you.
Absolutely.
Best of luck. Make it a great day.
Thanks a lot. And thank you for joining us on another episode of Wall Street Today.